And we're live. Hi everyone, how's everybody doing? I am your host, Jesús Ramirez, and I am with the amazing Arielle Vey today. How are you, Arielle?
Good.
Awesome. First of all, thank you everyone for joining us today. We are in beautiful San Francisco, California. Let us know in the chat where you are. I see a lot of familiar faces already. Tim, Claudia from Print My Soul. I know she's in the UK. So let us know in the chat where you're from. Today we're going to be working with Arielle, and she's going to be showing us
Lightroom presets. And my general workflow in Lightroom.
And that's your work behind us, right?
Yeah,
cool.
that's
So
Positano, Italy.
Awesome. We're going to be doing a bunch of cool stuff. So yeah, see, actually Claudia's in Italy. See, I got that wrong. Claudia's going to be upset with me because I got the country that she's in wrong.
Oh.
Yeah, Italy. She is in Italy, but she lives in the UK.
Nice.
We have, Eric from Oakland, Anthony from Puerto Rico, watching from LA,
Beautiful
Ariana, SoCal.
I'm from Oceanside, just north of San Diego, so
Yeah,
I'm familiar.
There you go, representing California.
Yeah.
I'm from the Bay Area, Bay Area native.
Yeah.
That you grew up? You didn't grow up in Oceanside, did you?
Seattle and San Diego.
San Diego. Awesome. Before we get started, I just want to mention a couple things. First of all, the schedule for today. There's going to be a graphic coming up. Today on Adobe Live, we started earlier with the amazing Paul Tranny. He was doing some amazing compositing work. He was doing something with like a planet, and he was holding it on his hand.
Holding the Earth. Yes.
Super cool. And then right now is, I think, the best stream of the day, which is us, coincidentally enough. And after us, we have Jesse Showalter, and at noon we have Angela Freja. So make sure that you stick around and check everyone out. I also want to let you guys know that there's an opportunity to win some prizes today with us, and that will be about half an hour from now. We'll have the chat and win, and all you guys have to do is just leave a comment when we tell you to. But make sure that you're commenting all throughout the stream. Make sure that you're logged into Behance so that you can leave a comment. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you switch over into behance.net/live so that you have an opportunity to win some stickers from Sticker Mule. And then in about an hour and a half from now, we're gonna do a design feedback where we're gonna look at the work that you've been working on with Paul Tranny on the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenges. So that should be really, really fun. So Arielle, tell us a little bit more about you, what you do, what we're gonna learn today.
Yeah, so I'm a photographer from Oceanside, California, like I said, and I have been shooting and editing for about 10 years. I grew up on Photoshop. I started in CS2.
Ooh.
Just
Awesome.
to put a date on it.
I started in Photoshop 7, so I got a few more years on you.
Yeah.
Let us know in the chat what version of Photoshop you guys started with.
Yeah, it's so interesting and so fascinating how far it's come.
2019,
Yeah, totally.
2020, I just started.
Yeah, so I was classically trained in Photoshop throughout school. I went to the Art Institute of Seattle, and then I self-taught myself Lightroom over the years after I found out how awesome it was for the kind of shooting I was doing, and I've just been in love with it ever since. And I started making presets a couple years ago, and that's just been a blast. So definitely going to be showing you my way of doing things with color and light and everything.
Awesome. We got a lot of people commenting when they started Photoshop 3, which was the first version of Photoshop with layers.
Wow, yeah.
Is that Photoshop 1, Eric? That was like 1989, 1990? Pretty cool.
Wow.
CS4. Good morning, Ralph. Oh, somebody, I'm guessing Cheryl's working with Photoshop Elements, I'm guessing.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, so this is my Instagram, just a glance at my style. It's very pastel, warm, and I just take a lot of inspiration from where I live, which is, this is a pretty good representation of where I live, and
it's not a very beautiful place.
It's
it's a terrible place to live.
Yeah.
San
And this
Diego,
is my
Ocean.
website, and yeah.
And by the way, what was your Instagram account?
My Instagram is at Arielle Vey, just my first and last name.
Vey.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys follow her. I'm sure someone will be posting a link in the chat so that you could follow her. And your website is?
ArielleVey.com.
Easy.
Yeah.
Awesome. And are we going to be working in Lightroom Classic?
Yeah.
Lightroom CC? Where are we
Classic.
working? Oh, Classic. Wow.
Yep.
All right. So
Should we hop in?
if you are you
Okay,
ready?
yeah.
I'm ready to
Let's
learn. I'm
do
just here
it.
learning. Usually I'm on your side.
Oh, you
and
are?
I'm like telling people what to click on, but now I just get to watch you and learn from you. So I'm very excited.
So actually today we're starting with portraits, and I have this shoot that I did last year, and I thought it would be a really good representation of color and light because we have a lot of direct sunlight. We have one that's closer up I'll be showing you how I work on, and then some backlit stuff, and just kind of some variations of lighting.
Cool.
And there's lots of different colors in here that I'm excited to play with. So
Ooh, I'm excited.
yeah, so I also have a preset pack online, and it has 5 presets. It's called Holiday, and I have that here on the left in my presets folder area.
Cool.
And I'm just gonna go ahead and jump into how I start out when I open a raw image.
So we're gonna start from scratch.
Yeah, this is
Awesome.
raw. So,
Perfect.
and funny enough, I just switched to Canon from Nikon.
Oh,
so
why is that?
I had been using Nikon for many, many years. I learned on Nikon when I started in high school, we learned on Nikons. A D50 was the first SLR I ever used.
Cool.
And then I went to a D80, and then I went up from there. And then last year I made the switch to a Canon 5D.
Nice.
And I just love it. And so
Cool.
you'll notice that these are NEF files from my Nikon, but I've since switched to Canon.
Awesome.
So I've noticed like the colors are a tiny bit different, but
Cool.
the colors on Canon are pretty great
Let us
too.
know what kind of camera you guys use.
Yeah,
'cause
I was
know
gonna
some
say the
people,
same.
Yeah, like I know
Or
some people may be shooting with
Sony.
their cell phone.
Yeah, I use my phone a lot, and I think that it's a great tool
Yeah.
on the go. And some of my Instagrams are used, iPhone photos.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Noor says, I find it difficult to use presets. Generally, they do not work perfectly on all images.
I do agree. I think that some of the presets online they present themselves as being kind of a one-click edit. And I'll show you today that when I go over the presets that I already have in here, that's not the case with every photo. You just kind of have to play around and see what works
Cool.
for that picture.
Awesome.
Yeah. So the first thing I usually like to do is go down to, it's already clicked, enable profile corrections. And that basically gets rid of, this was before, and you can kind of see that vignetting on the top of the image.
Yeah.
And it just instantly goes away and just brings it all forward and brightens it up automatically.
Magic.
So that's one of the first things that I like to do, just to kind of have a clean slate.
Yep.
And then...
And that's one of the advantages of working with RAW, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you can't do that on iPhone. It's not going to work, but always RAW when
Always
I'm
RAW.
in when I'm in Lightroom.
Right.
Yeah, so you just have more options, and obviously it's much better quality. And then I go down to the calibration and kind of play with the colors. That's where I get the main look and kind of the base of everything in my mind. And it just kind of gives it that warmer vintage look that I go for.
Nice.
So the reds kind of turn orange a little bit, and the greens are really warm, and the blue is also a little bit more warm and teal. So I usually take the shadows down a little bit, and then I go...
Yeah, Tim is on the chat saying that the Lightroom app can shoot RAW on the iPhone. So So if you're using Lightroom, that's an advantage of using Lightroom. The Lightroom app is that you can shoot RAW.
Good point, yes.
Thank you, Tim.
Yes. So I love to
Or
go...
third-party apps.
Yeah.
Cool.
So a little bit more orange with the red, and then you'll notice that as I go through, it's gonna kind of look a little funky in my opinion, but then as I go through and edit the whole thing, I kind of turn it around, and this is just like the base of everything.
Yeah. Cool.
So I bring the reds down a little bit, and then warm up the greens quite a bit. A little bit of saturation, and then this blue.
So this is the secret sauce to your look.
I guess you could say that. Yeah, I have a specific look that I've kind of just worked on over the last couple of years, and I just really like it on most of my images. So yeah, that's what kind of works for me.
Is that something you would recommend for someone starting out, like having their own look that defines them? Because by looking at your Instagram, it seems like as soon as we see one of your pictures, we know like that's an Arielle photo.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that over time you develop your own style, and I think it's important to stand out, but also just love what you're doing at the same time and do what's comfortable for you. So if you really love someone's style, you know, use it as inspiration,
Right.
but then put your own spin on it maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, over time, I just love that more vintage pastel
Right.
warm look.
Well, it's also very SoCal too, right?
Yeah. Very representative
Yeah,
of the brand.
yeah.
So yeah, and then just very subtly here, and then I'll go back maybe depending on the photo, but once you make the preset, this is all done for you, so it's just faster and more
Right.
efficient, which is what we're going for. So
Cool.
I like to go up to curves after that, and I bring up the shadows a little bit to kind of give that faded look.
Okay.
So in the curves, just in RGB, or just the regular non-color curve, it's up in the shadows. You kind of get that really faded look the
Yeah.
higher you go. But I kind of just like to do it a little bit and then bring it down here and then bring it back to the middle and then up a little bit right here.
Nice.
And then down in the highlights a little bit. And again, it's gonna look a little bit, you know, it's not quite there yet, and it's just like the process of getting there, and we'll fix all of the
So there's a question
Yeah.
from Celric. Do you have any tips on color theory and what you look for in a photo to get a look?
I just love contrasting colors. You'll see in a lot of these, there's just, like in this one in particular, this one has a lot of different colors, and I just kind of look like this is a perfect example of contrasting colors, orange and blue. And once I get the look I'm going for, I feel like the way that I toggle the colors kind of makes it so that they do contrast regardless of what colors they are. So
Right.
I would just look for just, you know, in terms of color theory, I feel like that's a little bit more technical.
Right. Well, here's the tip for you. Go to color.adobe.com and you can see like this cool color wheel that you can see like opposing colors. So maybe like in that photo that you showed was the woman with the orange and blue.
Orange and blue, yeah.
Right. So those are two opposite colors in the color wheel. When you put
Totally.
those opposing colors together, they tend to pop. But maybe if she was wearing
Or like red and green
right,
in this
red
one.
and green. So just look at the color wheel and
Yeah.
see what colors you can enhance or maybe shift the hue to get those opposing colors. So.
Totally.
So yeah, check that out. Also,
Great tip.
there was a question on starting out on the calibration tab, question mark, how so? I'm guessing the question is, how did you get to the calibration tab?
Down at the bottom.
Down at the bottoms. Okay, cool. Bottom right.
For me, it's at the very bottom.
Yeah. And if you're in, make sure you're in Lightroom Classic.
Yeah,
That's
this
what
is
we're working on
Classic.
today.
Yeah.
So you might be on the cloud version, CC
Yeah.
version of Lightroom. If you are, just make sure to switch over into Classic so you can follow along exactly with this layout.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So after this curve situation, I kind of go one by one and do kind of an S curve in each color. So bringing that down and then bringing this up a little bit. And if you've never heard of an S curve, here on the right, you can see my curve makes kind of an S shape. And that just below brings down the shadows, and then up above brings up the highlights of the color. So you can see that her skin is looking a little bit pink, and once we get through all of it and go through all of our HSL stuff and fix everything, it'll look how we want it to look. So
Cool.
I just bring this down, same thing as the red, just a little bit. I had a teacher at Art Institute tell me to go in onesies and twosies. So it's like little by little, so I always remembered that. And I just always start out small and then add as needed. So
Awesome.
yeah, so that's it for curves. And I'm just all over the place in terms of the order of how I do things. So then from there, I play with the light. And you can already see that that makes a huge difference in the highlights.
Yeah.
And then I love bringing up the shadows always. Same with the whites. It's kind of like starting out small and then adding to it if needed. And you can see she's looking a little saturated, but we're going to fix that with the HSL. And
Colleen wrote, I love onesies and twosies. That's a great tip.
yeah, it is. So after I play with like the basic light stuff, I like to go down to HSL, which is hue, saturation, and luminance. And the hue kind of changes what color of that color you're going for. So with the blue, if you go towards the teal area, you can see that the sky is turning much more of a green blue. And if you go this way, it's more of a purple. So Definitely one of the most customizable parts of Lightroom to me is how awesome HSL is for what the look you're trying to achieve. So that's kind of why I like to save it towards the end of the coloring because I can really tweak it finely.
So you're talking about the end, but there's a question about the beginning.
Yeah.
Why do you change calibration before curves? Any particular reason?
No particular
All
reason.
right.
I just
There
always
you
do
go.
it that way. So I'm self-taught,
yeah.
so I just have always done it that way, and
Yeah.
that's how I start out when I make presets. That's what I like to start with.
Oh, so Tim is referencing my latest tutorial on my YouTube channel. I'm not going to get into that because it's super technical, but luminance is not the same thing as brightness. So HSL isn't HSB, right, Jesus? So the answer is yes, but I don't want to bore you guys with technical.
Right.
So if you're interested in knowing the difference, check out my YouTube channel. Somebody can probably post a link in there. But yes, they're not the same. They're different ways of representing color. But
Right. So the hue changes the way that the color looks in terms of like on a sliding scale like this, and then saturation is how intense it is
Yep.
in color, and then luminance is how bright or dark it is.
Right, right.
So in a lot of my blue sky photos, I love to bring it down darker like that, and a little bit warmer,
Yeah.
so to speak,
Yep.
if we're talking about green being warmer in blue. But yeah, we're just gonna play with this for a second and kind of get that look
Yeah.
we're going for.
Paloma saying beautiful photo, by the way.
What?
Paloma said beautiful picture.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a really fun shoot. It was
Yeah.
actually for a music video, and I was just doing like
Oh,
fun
cool.
photos on the
Awesome.
side, and we would just like play around.
Is she
when
the
they-
musician? or-
Yeah,
Oh,
this is her
awesome.
name's Annie. She's
Annie.
awesome.
Cool. What kind of music does Annie sing?
It's like it's very ethereal and cool.
Oh, wow.
Annie O'Malley, she's awesome. So yeah, the
Yeah.
blues in this, I feel like I would want to be about there.
By the way, let us know what you guys like to listen to when you're working. We were
just talking about that podcast, perhaps.
Yeah, what's a good podcast? A good musician?
Yeah,
You
tell
know,
us
at
in
my
the
advanced
comments.
age, I don't know what you kids are
Oh, you're
listening
not.
to these days.
That's funny.
But yeah, let us know in the chat.
Yeah.
What do you listen to?
I love podcasts. I love motivating podcasts and comedy podcasts.
Okay,
So
cool.
I love Conan O'Brien's
Oh,
new podcast
yeah.
is really funny. Dak Shepard's Armchair Expert
Yes,
is
that's
great.
a really good one. Yeah.
What else? Just fun,
Quinn
inspiring.
said, I listen to Adobe Live. Good answer, Quinn.
Yes. Round of applause. Old time radio.
Yeah,
love
old
it.
time radio, yeah. Oh,
Yes.
man.
Okay, so I'm gonna go into red, and we can see that her skin is a little red. So I'm just gonna bring it down a little bit, just slightly. And I know that once we hit our orange, we'll hit that skin tone.
Nice.
And I just like to bring it down a little bit,
Super cool.
and then that way a little bit.
And also, like, when you guys are doing this at home, like, I've noticed that you keep going back and forth because you're never
Yeah,
going to get it right the first time.
Exactly,
you know, so-
which is where creating the preset really comes into play, because then once you have this base that I'm making, you can go off of that and make different presets depending on the shoot or
Yeah.
the lighting. You might have a shoot at night that these presets don't work on at all, and you just have to really toggle it
Yeah.
and really play with it to get the correct look that you're going for.
Right.
So with yellow, I always like to take it more orange.
Cool.
That's one of the things that I'm always find myself doing. And just continue from there.
The No Sleep Podcast, Spotify,
Oh, nice.
Adobe Live,
Yeah, yeah.
Extreme Black Metal, nice classic rock, Motown.
My husband and I have a podcast called All About It, and we talk
Ooh.
about everything. So there's actually
it's
some.
all about it.
It's all about it. So we actually talk about how I got started in photography. We talk
Ooh.
about business stuff, but also like growing up in the '90s. So it's
Right.
all really random and just kind of fun.
And
so
that's All About It
all about it.
podcast.
Yeah.
Cool. So check it out. Add it to your playlist.
So from there, let's see, what other, probably green, a little bit warmer.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the look, I mean, I always kind of change the greens depending on the look I'm going for, so we may come back to that. Teal, I'm not really interested in touching because I got the blue. Well, let's see. Maybe a tiny, tiny bit desaturated.
So question.
Yeah.
Is there an advantage of using Lightroom for that instead of RAW in Windows PS? So the question is basically, is there an advantage of using this or Camera Raw in Photoshop?
I personally don't think so, but then again, I'm not super familiar with Camera Raw in Photoshop. I used to be more so. I just haven't played in Photoshop. Cool. What do you think?
I mean, Camera Raw is basically, Lightroom was basically built on the Camera Raw engine, so in reality, there's no advantages for doing the color correction side. The advantages come in when you're doing the libraries and stuff and the catalogs and all that organizational stuff, but in terms of adjusting your images, there's no real benefit. Maybe if you like the UI better or something like that. But in terms of the sliders that you're adjusting, they do exactly the same thing. They have the same names. They're just in different places.
Yeah. And same thing, you can make an action in Photoshop with these same tools as you can make a preset in Lightroom. So, yeah, I'm just kind of playing with the purple. I usually take the purple more pink, just out of habit, to be honest.
Right.
And then I'm gonna go all the way up to temperature and tint. And I usually like to take it a little bit more green. And now we're really getting more of the look that I'm going for.
Yeah.
And then just to see what the warmth is gonna do here. That's cool. And then let's see.
So 2 things. What was your inspiration to use warm pastel tones in your work?
I think it was a combination of just, I loved looking at those kind of pictures, and I actually have a few like vintage Vogues from the 60s and 70s, and a lot of the advertisements in there are these colors and a lot of film inspiration. Yeah. I shot large format film at Art Institute.
Ooh, super cool.
And even though it was black and white, that helped me determine tones so well. Like, they really, hit home with that one. So even though it was hard, and like we ended up like developing more film from there, and I just got really inspired by the faded colors and all of that stuff. So
awesome. Yeah. I think this is Santaji, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I think he uses the same workflow that I think you told me you used at dinner last night, which is Bridge and Camera Raw.
Oh, right? Yeah, I used to use, that's what I was introduced to when I started learning Photoshop. They had us work in Bridge. And then when I started shooting weddings more and more, I used to shoot weddings, and I found that Lightroom was just how I like to work in my workflow. I thought that it was more efficient with the catalogs, and having everything down in the film strip just for me was a little bit easier to use, but it's all preference thing,
Yep.
So
cool.
I'm just gonna keep playing with this
Let's
a little bit.
Keep adjusting the image. And it's so amazing to see that little by little, like with every click, every
little
slider that you drag, it just keeps adding to the photo. And I'm already starting to see like your style just coming right out of that image,
So down in the highlights, sometimes I like to see what this, so I'll give you an example really quick if you haven't used this tool before. If you go up in the saturation, you can see this brown bar here. Ooh. That's where this is on the slider, so you can see it turn colors as you go, and then if you land on something, you can adjust the saturation of that color from there. So if I want like purple highlights, this is where I'd want to get that look and get really specific. But I like to go kind of on the brown, warmer, film, vintage look side. Cool. So I like to bring it about...
It's like that 60s old camera look type of thing.
Yes. Yeah. But make it modern. Yeah. So, yeah, again, with the onesies and twosies on this one, you don't want to go too much or else it might start to look a little bit unnatural, but hey, anything works. It's
there's a lot of chat going on. Basically people are talking about Camera Raw and Lightroom, and the differences are basically the same in terms of what they can do.
Right.
Maybe someone who works for Adobe could correct me if I'm wrong, or if it's like an urban legend, but I heard that one of the Knoll brothers, who was the person who coded Photoshop, also coded Camera Raw, and he did it like in a weekend. So I want to know if that's true.
Interesting.
But I've heard that the person who coded Camera Raw did it in a weekend, and then that became Lightroom. One of the Knoll brothers. I can't remember if it was John or Thomas Knoll, but I don't know. If somebody knows, let me know in the chat.
Well,
or maybe it was like an urban legend and it took him like years. I don't know.
That is like genius status. 'Cause- whoa. Yeah. There's so many things involved.
Yeah, he coded the Adobe Color Engine. That's true. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know. I heard a weekend, but I don't know. That's what I've heard. Yeah.
So I'm kind of wrapping up this edit, and I just want to play a little bit more.
Awesome. So how do you decide when a photo is done? Like,
Right. So I just I've over the years just had a feeling for it once it's done. But overall, probably just, checking different things. And then once I've checked everything and gone through everything again, I kind of just know.
Also, just a little quick reminder, we have the chat and win in about 3 minutes, so make sure that you're logged into Behance, be ready to chat, be ready to comment, because we're gonna have a free gift for a lucky winner, a prize. And those are the Sticker Mule stickers, so make sure that you're ready to start commenting in about 3 minutes. And we gotta think of a question.
Yeah, okay, so let's do, where is your favorite place you've ever been?
Oh, there you go. That'll be a good one. So in 3 minutes.
Or your happy place.
Yeah. So get ready in about 3 minutes. We're gonna ask you to comment for a chance to win. Question from Sergio. Arielle, how do you like split toning?
Oh, I'm just in split toning right now. So the highlights and shadows, as I was saying, like with you can bring it up, get crazy. I do like it for certain things, but not for everything. But I do find that you can get really dynamic results with it, just depending on the image. I would say that I use split toning for landscape photos more than portraits, for sure. Just for me personally.
Yeah.
And we're doing landscape photos tomorrow.
Ooh. So make sure you're back tomorrow.
Yes.
And be nice to her. Don't scare her away, because then she won't come back. Be nice in the chat.
No, I'll definitely be here. So I'm just going to desaturate the blue a little bit more, and
Awesome.
I am going to save this as a preset.
Ooh.
So over on the left,
Got it.
plus create preset. And this is where all of our adjustment options come up. So all of these are pretty straightforward, self-explanatory, and whatever you have checked is what is going to make up your new preset. So the lens correction over here, that first thing we did where it corrected the profile to get rid of that kind of weird vignette look, that's in here. Those are all clicked. This is more for cropping and like upright transforming kind of stuff. You didn't really touch anything there. And everything else looks good. These filters in particular, we didn't do any of today. That would be like, the filters coming in, like the color filters you can adjust, and we didn't add any of those. So I am going to click OK. But right here, the basic tone, that's the majority of it. But like, for instance, if you don't have color chosen, none of this will be applied that we just worked on. It'll just look weird with lighting.
Right, because those include the saturation vibrance that you adjusted.
Exactly.
Right. All right, cool.
And then up here, you name your preset whatever you want. I'm gonna call it Annie 1.
Annie 1.
And I'm gonna make a new group.
Awesome.
And we'll call it Adobe Live 1.
And group is just for organizational purposes?
Yes, so on
right.
the left, it'll pop up as once I say create, it just popped up as a new preset right here.
Wow.
And
that easy, huh?
After the chat and win, I'll apply it to another one and kind of level out a different image of what we just created with the Annie 1 preset.
Awesome.
Yeah. So basically, when I do that, actually, really quick, I'll show you. If you hover over, like user presets, for example, I have a couple here.
Yep.
It'll show you what it looks like before you click the preset.
Cool.
It'll give you kind of a preview.
Yeah. All right, guys. So it's time for the chat and win. The question is,
where's your favorite place you've ever been?
The favorite place you've ever been. So make sure that you start leaving your comments as soon as the screen switches over. And yeah, we'll be right back in just a few seconds.
Cool.
Awesome, and we're back. We're looking at all the wonderful places.
Disneyland.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's going so
Disney
fast.
World.
Philippines, Disney World, Isla Mujeres, that's in Mexico. Leche, Italy.
Italy.
Another Italy.
My answer's Italy.
Yeah, I love Italy as
Yeah.
well. Hands down, but Ireland and
Ooh,
Disneyland.
Dominican Republic.
The
Cape
Dominican
Town.
Republic, Cape Town,
Mall
Maldives.
of America.
Mall of America. I've never been. I
haven't been either.
Oh man, where I am today, Barbados. Oh my God,
New York
can we do an
City.
Adobe Live from Barbados?
Right, invite me.
Barcelona. I was just there like a month ago. It's a beautiful city. Germany.
I want to go to Barcelona so bad.
Brazil, Puerto Vallarta, or Disneyland.
I love how many Disneys there
Miami. It's the happiest place on earth, or that's
are.
at least that's the slogan.
India.
Puerto Paradiso, Chile.
Anywhere that's not work.
That does not work. Italy, a lot of Italy's, a lot of Disneyland's, South Africa. Awesome. And the winner is Andrew Kavanaugh.
Ooh.
Andrew, congratulations, a friend of mine. Andrew is in Beverly Hills, California. So Andrew, awesome. Congratulations.
Cool.
Yeah, awesome. Cancun, a whole lot of places. It's interesting to see. Oh, and yes, that's what he wins. He wins the Sticker Mule stickers, 100 custom stickers.
That's
and,
so cool.
Someone will reach out to you on Behance in a private message. So they'll give you the information about that. So thank you so much, Sticker Mule, for the prize.
Nice, that was fun.
Awesome, yeah. I got carried away just reading
I
all
know,
the
me too.
places.
I was like, Brazil, Argentina.
Oh my God, I gotta go to Chile.
I suddenly just want to go to South America.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome, Andrew.
Cool.
Congratulations, Andrew.
He's excited.
Yeah, very excited.
Okay. So, jumping back in.
We're back in.
I am going to go over to this image that we talked about. This is totally raw, and I am going to hover
Raw
over.
as in the format, or raw as in like that's so cool?
Both.
Or both.
Raw Nikon style.
Oh, okay, cool.
Raw NEF file. So, if we hover over Annie, I can already see that for me personally, and just looking at it, it's a little on the warm pink side for me. So I'm gonna apply this preset. And all of a sudden, everything that we did to the first image is already applied to our adjustments, which is awesome. And it saves so much time, and then from there you can adjust accordingly. So I already know that I want to go a little bit more green.
Yeah.
And that I'm already happy. Like, it already just fixed a little bit of what I was looking for, and I can kind of go through the motions of, you know, the basic adjustments, which after I apply a preset, I like to do it from top to bottom. That's just like my method, but yeah, it's already looking pretty good to me.
Nice.
I might want to play with this a little bit. And then something I like to do, just getting real close here, with certain things like this is kind of sharpen up some of the features and just enhance those really like bright catch lights, or just like brighten her eyes a little bit. And I'll show you really quick.
Ooh, question for me. Why do I use Windows over Mac? It's because it's way better. No, just kidding.
Whoa!
No, I'm just kidding. I actually do have a MacBook, but I do prefer Windows machines. Why? It's what I've always used. I mean, you know, at this point in time, I think they're basically the same in terms of power. Photoshop, which is my tool of choice, works virtually the same on either a Mac or a PC. I could jump into your Mac and I would have no problem in terms of, you know, navigating the app. So
Absolutely.
personal choice, as someone commented. I think Jordan commented, yeah, personal choice. So that's why. No, I'm not endorsing one over the other. I just prefer it. But like I said, I also do own Apple products.
Yeah.
So
I think it's just important to work with what you're comfortable on. Yeah.
And it's just habit. Like I started on a PC and I just kept going.
Yeah.
You know, like simple as that.
Yeah. PC for life.
Yeah, PC for life. Yep.
Everyone should comment saying what they prefer.
Also, I just want to remind you guys that we have the design feedback in about 55 minutes. So for those of you who are checking out Paul's Daily Creative Challenge on compositing, make sure that you submit your work into Discord, because Arielle and I will be reviewing. I don't like the word critiquing. I feel like it's too, I don't know. We're going to be
constructive criticism.
Yes. On the compositing work that you submit. So make sure that you submit that now. You have about close to an hour to submit it.
Nice.
And we'll be talking about that shortly.
So I applied a brush, and what I like to do with this is kind of lighten it up a little bit. I applied it to both eyes. This eye is a little bit more in focus back here, but I just applied it there, and then I take up the texture and the clarity a little bit. Nothing too crazy, just to kind of enhance what's already there. And brighten it a little bit.
And don't you just love that texture slider? It's like not even a year old. It's like 6 months.
I know. It's so good.
It's amazing.
Yeah. You can really see, so there's 0, and then this is with more.
Wow.
So the detail is just crazy. Crazy good. And I kind of like to just a little bit, and then kind of make sure that this one's doing okay. So I basically applied it to both eyes. So when you click the brush tool, you just kind of lightly brush over where you want these things to be applied, and then you unclick it to kind of set it into place. And then if you hover over a preset, it kind of just like shows you a preview. If you go back to there, you can kind of see the before and after in the eyes if you look closely. And that's after. And it just kind of like brightened and sharpened a little bit.
Super cool.
But I did want to say that if I were to make a preset from this, I would want to make sure that adjustment was not clicked when I was creating the preset, because then if you applied it onto a different photo, like if I applied it to this one, there would randomly be 2 little spots right here that were like sharper.
Yeah.
So just something to keep in mind, but you can always delete it later if you don't want it.
So show us where that is. Like, how would you uncheck that adjustment if you were creating a preset?
Let's go into create preset.
So that's from the preset window.
So the brush would be, let's see.
Where is the brush?
Good question. I know it's one of them.
Yeah, I can't even see it from here. We got color lens correction. Actually, no, I don't see any local adjustments.
Whenever I do, that's interesting, because I've seen it applied in other ones.
We're just going to edit this part out. No.
That's funny. Yeah, it's all pretty self-explanatory, so if you see something in here that you don't want applied to something else, just uncheck it.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah.
All right, Paco, just make sure you get rid of this part. Actually, no, we can't edit this.
JK.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was just like a little example of something you can do with a brush. But if we're going to, with this, I would probably create a preset just because it's a little bit different. All we did was kind of skew the greens and make it a little bit more cool.
Right.
So I will make a preset from that. Why not? We'll call it Annie.
Annie
2. Let's see. What did I call the first one? I'm gonna check really quick because I'm Annie 1. I like to keep everything the same when I'm doing stuff like this.
It's good to be organized.
Yeah. So we're gonna roll over to, I think we're gonna do this one. It's a little bit different.
Cool.
There's more color.
Yeah.
And if I hover over Annie 1, that's the look I get. And there's Annie 2. See the difference? It's like barely anything.
Right.
So as different as they were on these two, there's really barely a difference on this one. So super interesting. But I think I would go with the one I did in the ladder. And I would probably just brighten it up a little bit. Take down the brighten up the shadows and the blacks.
Right, and that was the question that came in the beginning of the stream where the person was saying, well, the presets don't always work. So it's not that they don't always work.
You just have to adjust accordingly.
Right.
And I totally get where you're coming from. And sometimes I apply a preset and it's almost near exactly what I want it to be, and sometimes it's the furthest away from what I want it to be. So it just depends on the picture, the lighting, the shadows. There's so many factors. But playing with it after you apply it is kind of where it's at.
Right.
So I am going to crop this one the way that I want it to be. And I'm just holding down Shift and doing this at the same time so that it's not a different size.
Right.
Kind of keeps it in line. I'm gonna go up a little bit. Kind of center her.
Nice.
Probably gonna do a...
Do you like to use the rule of thirds or any specific, or you just randomly?
You know what's funny about that? I feel like I don't think about it, but then after I look at it, I'm like, oh, that actually is.
Right,
like
right.
her eye, like in this crop, her eyes are lining up with the top third. And I didn't really even, it just kind of happens
like
naturally.
your brain just did it.
Yeah. And I find that the more that I've shot over the years, I 9 times out of 10 crop in camera the way that I want it. Like for example, this one, or this one, cropped in camera. But sometimes stuff like this, I'm so used to cropping for Instagram, so it's 4:5, or if I'm editing a print that's going to be an 8:10, this is also another popular crop to use. So 2 things there that I keep in mind also. And if you're selected on a specific ratio here on the right, you don't have to hold down Shift to keep it straight. You can just click it and drag it wherever without it going out of its aspect ratio. So I'm gonna click enter.
So just to get back at people when we were talking about creating the presets, so it looks like we were wrong. You can't save the brushstrokes, but you can save the graduated filter and the radio filter.
I was
and
getting
that's
those mixed up.
where because I was thinking the same thing you were thinking.
Yeah.
So you can save the little circle and the little gradient.
Yes.
You can save those, but not.
Thank
the
you for
brushstrokes.
correcting me.
So,
I knew something was weird.
Yeah, because I knew I had seen it. I was like, where is it? So I've been secretly just trying to figure it out.
Sorry, guys. But yeah,
it happens. We can't remember everything.
Yeah, so the filters definitely. So for example, I'll just show you really quick what we're talking about. This is the filter we're talking about. So you can basically drag, like I'll just create light here. So as long as this little black circle is selected, you can adjust it to anything. Cool. So warm, green, bright, anything you want. And then when you go into presets, this will be there. And that's where I was getting mixed up. But if you do want it on certain ones, it kind of does work out. If you have the same shot over and over again, maybe you do want the filter applied. So just preference, yeah.
And actually, one of the things that you can do with exactly what you were doing is create that like streak effect, like old school light streaks. Yeah, so like that's one of the methods that you would do it, and the preset will apply that light streak onto other images.
Yeah, so this is kind of the possibilities of this are so fun. Yeah. You can create so many different, like if I wanted different colors coming out from the side, you can just like really get wild with it, But I am going to, so if you have this selected, you can just hit delete and it goes away. And it makes a little poof sound if your speakers are on.
Nice.
So I'm gonna unclick that.
I don't think there's too many poof sounds in Adobe apps, but that one. I don't know.
I know, why is it just like delete and poof, it's gone? It's funny. But yeah, that is an example of a filter, and I'm gonna leave this as is. I kind of like the darker blue. But if we go to, I think maybe I'll go back to one of these. I can show you adjusting from a preset that I've already made that's just totally different. So this is my pack, it's called Holiday. And if you go over all of these, are all different. So they're the same base, but they are all different, but they all kind of go together. When
you say my pack, is that something that you made for yourself, or is that something that people could buy?
People can buy it, yes. It's
amazing.
On, yes.
Ooh, and where can I buy it?
It's on acolorstory.com, and if you go to shop, you'll see my pack right there, and it's called Holiday.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I hope that maybe somebody can post a link to that if people are interested, because it would be so awesome.
And it's on sale.
So. Ooh, it's on sale. Oh, man.
Yeah, so this is, there's 5 in here, and lately I've been using Chelan a lot, and they're all places that I love and have been to. So like Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago, Manzanita, Oregon, Chelan is in Washington State, Capri is in Italy, and then Cabana is like the indoor filter that works really well on indoor photos.
Awesome.
But lately I've been using Chelan, And it's just like
really good.
It's a really warm, kind of like very like warm shadow filter. And from there, I'd probably bring that up a little bit, and then could just kind of adjust accordingly.
Right. So it's just like a base, and then you just drag a few sliders and you get the resulting image.
And it saves so much time, and it's so fun when you make a preset that you love and then play with it on different photos. That's like one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that's key what you said. I think that most people are under the impression that a filter should be like a one-click solution and it's done, but you do have to play around with it a little bit because every photo is a little different.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, with her, I think I kind of like where it's at. So,
it's looking great.
That's an example of one of my presets, and then I think I can hop into one of these backlit situations.
An awesome outfit.
Yeah, that stylist was awesome. Such good stuff. I'm gonna go through these and kind of see.
Ooh, good question. Is this your workflow geared for Instagram? Do you go to print? How does your color fidelity and reproduction figure in your work?
That's a great question. So it's both. I use it for Instagram, I use it for my print shop, and I've basically I've tested a lot with our printer, and the colors are almost, like, I'm so impressed with our printer, and I couldn't be happier with the way that they come out. And with these presets, a lot of them are applied to the prints that I have, so it just works out, but it was trial and error for sure.
From what I understand, you have some like work printed out in like restaurants in Milan or something,
right? We're kind of all over the place.
Ooh, all over the world.
So we have a print and world market right now, and there's more fun stuff coming up with that soon.
So you are printing this work. So to answer the question it's not just for Instagram.
Right, it's not just for Instagram. It's a lot of licensing, and I do a lot of client work, kind of like behind the scenes. But yeah, with these presets, they just work across the board for me for pretty much anything that I need to do. So I work with Simply Framed to print my photos.
Okay. Yeah, and the question was, do you work with a local printer or prints online?
Online, yeah.
So
we have a distributor online, and we order from them all the time and get them sent, and we take a peek at them, and yeah, it's so much fun. Yeah. So we just kind of found a sweet spot with that.
Yeah. And that's something I want to do. I want to start printing my work more. Claudia from Print My Soul, who's in the chat, she's been trying to get me to print my stuff. So
you should. Yeah. That would be so cool. It's really cool seeing your own work, like, just
tangible. In your hands.
Because we're so used to working on the computer that it's nice to just see it. But yeah, I kind of like Chelan for this one. And then just from there, I would just brighten. I find that a lot of the time if I do select a preset, more often than not, it's just the lighting that really needs help, and adjusting accordingly, like little things here and there, like straightening and cropping a tiny bit.
Yeah.
But actually, I don't like that gets cut off on the right. When things are close on a crop like that, like right here, if it's like barely touching, it just really bugs me for some reason.
Yeah.
It's like a little pet peeve, but yeah,
even if it's 1 pixel, you're like, nope, not good enough.
Yeah, totally. But I think that's pretty cool the way it is.
Do you use calibrated monitors or printers?
No.
No.
Wait, you know what's funny about that? We used to have to get and I should do this, we used to have to calibrate our screens, and I was going to Lightroom, and they made us do it every 6 months, I think. Do you do it?
Not often enough. I have a spider, the thing that and I used to do it more. I haven't done it probably in over a year, maybe longer now, maybe 2 years. So
I will say that my iMac at home is just a tinge more saturated than my MacBook. So I do not compensate, but I definitely make sure and look on a bunch of different screens to really see what's going on, and test it out. And obviously iPhone looks so different from what you're seeing on your laptop or your desktop monitor. So I keep an eye out for that. That's a good point to bring up. Especially when you're working with color like this, it can get pretty crazy. But yeah, I think we're good here. But yeah, this is more of a backlit situation, so it's definitely different, but you can see that it's still the same look as what we were going for before. But this was kind of a on-the-fly preset. This is a preset that I worked on for a very long time and kind of developed over time. And yeah, that's that one. And then I could probably just, let's say, create preset. I'm gonna call this Annie Chelan.
Is that her
Since
last name? Or?
The preset was Chelan to begin with.
Oh, sorry,
so this is like Annie's version.
Got it.
So if I apply it to this one, it's gonna be a little darker, but then I just brighten it up, and then that's
Pokeyhand is asking, what's the challenge for today? I'm assuming that's the Daily Creative Challenge, the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. If so, it's compositing, and we're gonna be doing the design feedback in about 38 minutes, so make sure you submit your work.
cool.
Because we're going to be very, very merciless. We're just gonna just tell you it's wrong. No, we're not. We're gonna be very nice.
Yeah. So I just did a couple adjustments to exposure and contrast, and yeah, once you get your base, it's so easy to just play, and especially if it's the same location, same outfit, same person, it's like you're pretty much there.
Basically one click.
Exactly.
Awesome.
So let's see. So this one is way more purple on these. And then if I clicked that, I would be almost done. I'm gonna apply a different preset of mine just to give you a different idea.
Cool.
Let's do
And it's super cool how you can just hover over the presets.
I
and
love that.
You get that preview. You don't have
yes. It makes it just way more efficient. So I chose Tobago for this one, which is just a really warm kind of, it's like my base. I use Tobago a lot for outdoor stuff, but it's good for skin tone too and everything. So I just kind of want to brighten, and then the blue I know will pop if I bring it down, which will kind of make the orange pop and turn.
Looks amazing.
Yeah. So
yeah, and also just to be clear with presets, like they're not like filters, right? They're not like Instagram's filters. All that Lightroom is doing is remembering where you set a certain setting or a slider.
Yes.
And then just applies, it just moves the slider to that spot
yes.
every time you select the preset. So.
And then what's cool about it is that you can adjust from there. With a filter, you can't adjust to these specifics. Yeah. But with a preset or an action in Photoshop, you can really play with it after the fact, which is what I love about presets. So this one is looking good too. I think I'm gonna make one more preset from RAW, maybe on this one. So I'm gonna go back and just kind of go through the motions. Again, this is just a totally different lighting scenario. It's not quite sunset, it's like right before it starts getting cool outside.
Awesome.
So, let's see. Sometimes I start there, sometimes I start down here, but I always like to go more green in the shadows, like I said, and then again.
I love how her dress is doing that swoop.
Yeah, I was like holding it, so I was
okay, cool.
I was like holding it, like shooting like this.
It looks like that golden ratio thing, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So with these, I think I was like throwing it at her, and then with this one, I was just kind of like this in front of her. Yeah, fun way to play with foreground and textures with that kind of thing. And let's see, I was down in calibration, so I'm just gonna go through the motions like before, but I think that the main thing is just getting that base and then making it so that it's whatever you need it to be on your next image. So this is obviously gonna be way different than the first one. I actually wanna see what it looks like with, yeah, see how pink it is? It's pretty crazy. Because we had so many greens in the first one. I think I was kind of compensating for that in those first ones. But I'm gonna go more green in the blues.
Jordan is saying very fun and dynamic.
Oh, cool, thanks. And then with the curve. same thing up in the shadows, and then kind of like...
Paloma, loving this shoot.
Oh, cool, yeah. This was so much fun. I actually, when I started out at Art Institute, I wanted to do fashion photography, and that's what my final portfolio was in. So when I showed and it was my final, it was just a book full of models, and I just evolved throughout the years, and I did weddings for a long time, and when I started out, it was just like, I did whatever I could to kind of just get my name out there, like word of mouth, and like really go for it. And I emailed a ton of local magazines, and this is back in like 2008 or 2009, before Instagram. So
what? Before Instagram?
Yeah, right? What was the world like?
Is there a... Oh my God.
So yeah, that was just, so this shoot was very reminiscent of like my time going through school, and it was just really fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just gonna play with this again with the, go down in this a little
Our
bit.
good friend, the RGB curves. Nice.
Yeah, this can get really, you kind of have to play with it to get the hang of it.
Yeah.
Like you can see, like if you go up on the red, you get really pink highlights. But if you bring it down, it's the opposite, which is pretty.
Yeah.
It's like underwater.
Opposite of red is cyan.
Yeah.
So yeah, you do get the opposite.
But yeah, again with the...
I don't know if in Lightroom, I can't really see, and I don't have my Lightroom open, but let me see if I can peek over in yours.
Yeah.
But I know in Photoshop, there's like a line that goes right in the middle. Like, so you have the curves, right? And then there's a line. And in Photoshop, same thing in Lightroom. I just don't know if that line is there. But basically, if you drag up, you add more light in the color or the channel that you're in. So in this case, green. And if you drag down, you subtract that light and get the opposite. So like that center point is like how you know where the light, the color of the light that you're gonna get as a result.
Right, totally. So. That's a good point. I just, it's so funny because like we were chatting and I was saying I'm not super technical with stuff. So, and you are. And I was just saying like with what I'm doing, I don't know exactly what it means, but to play with it visually and to get it down the way that you like it is what matters.
And actually, that's a very important point because, I mean, it just goes to show that you don't need to know exact. I mean, ideally, maybe you should, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you want to know what
you're
you're doing.
But at the end, it doesn't matter because you're getting work all over the world. You're getting stuff printed. You have a job that you love.
Yeah.
So I guess my point is, and I was a victim of this too when I was learning, that I was so focused on learning the tools that I wasn't necessarily creating work. So I think that you should start just playing around with things, developing your style, developing the type of artwork that you want to create. And yes, learn the tools too, of course, but don't focus so much on the tools that you're like an expert at what the tool does, but then you can't really make anything with it. So So I think making something is better than knowing what it does at the end of the day.
And again, let's see, I forgot to enable my profile corrections.
If you would have just had a preset that did it for you.
I know, right? Right? So, in my basically day-to-day workflow, I just click a preset and then adjust from there. But I do love to play and create stuff just for fun because I do want to release more presets that have a different look to them, maybe more of like an intense film look that's a little bit more toned down in the colors, but just different lighting scenarios. But with this right now, it's kind of just looking like a little red, so I'm just going to take that down. And then...
But I mean, it's so cool how you could, like you're looking at your image and you're like, you know what, this got too much red. I'm just going to click on the red box.
Exactly.
And just bring down the red. Like it's very intuitive, so it's super easy.
Yeah, and then I love bringing up the shadows like all the way. I was like onesies and twosies, and now I'm like full blast on all things. But that's pretty much the only place where I really go that dramatic because it's just the look I'm going for.
Right.
And then another thing I wanted to point out is when you play with colors this much, you can kind of get a weird so you can also get, and that's something I try to avoid typically. You can go into, like if we went to orange and we kind of, or is it the blue that's affecting it? I think it's the blue. Ooh. So see how it's kind of like, it kind of goes away the more deep the blue gets. So I kind of try to like adjust for that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, the brighter you get, see the line?
These tips are so great. I miss the Adobe streams. Thank you so much, Pokehan.
Well, we're having fun.
Yeah, we're having a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like to keep an eye out for that. On this one too, I was kind of seeing the same thing when I was playing with the reds. If you look right here on the edge, you will kind of see that line again.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a name for that. If anyone knows, like I'd love to know like when it really like kind of has that line when you play with the luminance, especially. I think it's just like overdoing it and it ends up turning into that. But I definitely like to look out for that when I'm playing with the luminance.
Isabella, this pic is just amazing.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you, Isabella.
That's so nice. I'm flattered. Yeah, so back to this one. I just wanted to show you that really quick because it can be kind of, I look at every little part and I'm like, okay, what can I make better?
Right.
What can I change? And then I would probably, I just want to see what this looks like if I straighten the horizon. You kind of get rid of the swoops. I don't know if I would do that. That's one thing that I am so crazy about getting my horizon line straight. So it's something like this. I feel like it's okay since it is so abstract. It's like overly abstract. So I feel like it is okay to have it be a little skewed.
Yeah.
But I did want to go to this one and play with the ones that we already did just to get a different perspective and different colors.
Yep.
So let's do, oh, that's totally different.
Yeah, it's looking super cool.
Yeah, Chelan on that one would be almost done.
Yeah. It's slightly brighter, but yeah.
Manzanita is really blue. I love it for more landscape photos. I'll probably be using that a lot tomorrow. But Chelan for this one is
So make
good.
sure you tune back in tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Pacific.
Yes.
We'll be here. And I think you'll be here too?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Just don't worry,
sure.
I'll be here. So yeah, I'm just adjusting accordingly. And usually for one reason or another, I like to make the reds more orange.
Awesome.
Not all the time, but.
Well, I mean, it looks great up against that blue sky when you move it more into the orange, so it makes sense.
And then with this, see how it kind of turns like, it's very subtle. And sometimes I will bring it more green. And if you look at a lot of my pictures, they are actually kind of green. You don't think of that right away, but
just a little bit of green.
It's green, but it's not. And if you know color, you'll be like, okay, I see what you're talking about, but it is very subtle. And that's another thing with like finding your style. I feel like if you kind of slightly tweak something and it's kind of like your secret thing, it's like, it kind of
Right.
It's kind of fun. But yeah, I'm going to make a new preset out of this.
Nice.
And even I'm going to add one of these to kind of show how it's applied on something different.
Yeah.
And just like brighten it right there and warm it up. But not too much because I don't want her hand to look too bright. And that's probably good. I'm gonna lower the brightness a little bit.
Yep. And just a reminder, we're 25 minutes away from the design feedback, so make sure that you log into Discord. You can see in the chat, like right now where you guys are typing, if you go up to the very top, there's a join the Photoshop Discord link. That's where you need to click on so you can submit the work that you've done. Paul Tranny worked on some compositing this morning for the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge, so we would love to review as many projects as possible. So make sure that you submit your work.
I'm excited to see.
Love your dreamy style.
Oh, thank you.
Avian, I think it's pronounced.
Oh, thank you. Another thing I wanted to show, how earlier I kind of did the adjustment brush on her eyes. I want to show how I enhance colors with that sometimes.
Okay,
so if I go here, let's see, I don't want to zoom in. Whoa, I don't want to zoom in too much, but if you click the adjustment brush and then you can change the size of your brush with the brackets. and just kind of paint over certain things and just click and paint on just these guys here, it's going to end up making them pop way more if that's what you want to do. So basically, if I go, like if I make them more, you can kind of see that's after and that's before. That's another really fun way to just like make colors pop and bring out specifics. And then you can always go in and like if I go too bright, you can see where it like went over the line kind of. So if I zoom in, you can click erase and get like very specific.
Cool.
I would probably make that way bigger, but that's just a good example of like how you can erase.
Right.
But I actually do this quite a bit with certain things actually.
Isabella wrote, "These hot sunlight pics just give me a warm feeling. It makes them so beautiful. So much beautiful."
That's nice. Yeah, when I was going to school, this photo would have been a no-no because of the lighting. Because it was very like classically trained, like different portrait styles in studio, like Rembrandt lighting and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of, made my own path afterwards.
Nice. That will make a dope album art on her record.
Oh, that's what she used them for. Yeah.
Awesome.
She is awesome.
I'm not sure I understand Jefferson's question. Is there anywhere I can leave Lightroom presets? Maybe might be the word. I'm from Brazil and a fan of Adobe. So I know that Arielle has a place where she sells her presets, and I don't know if somebody posted the link to that or not.
Yeah, if you go to acolorstory.com, acolorstory.com, and go to shop,
right,
my preset pack will be on that page.
Cool.
And it's called Holiday. And
Awesome.
you can get actions or presets.
Awesome.
Which is cool because you might want to work in Photoshop, you might want to do it in Lightroom. So,
there you go.
Yeah. And I'm excited to make more this year and just kind of create more tutorials on Instagram and do fun stuff like that. So yeah, we have this brush selected and you can see if we move it around.
Ooh, it's like a little ghost.
Yeah, that's actually kind of cool like that. You can kind of move it around and adjust it. I showed you the erase tool. And from there, just you can get really, really saturated, really textured. That texture tool is awesome.
Some of that Adobe magic, Adobe Cadabra.
Highly recommend. You can get more blue. Let's see. Yeah.
Cool.
But I find that specifically for this one, I would probably just stick to the HSL. But if you wanted to go crazy, with the red, it would maybe affect the skin tone a little bit more. Like, you see how it kind of gets really saturated? You could do this and it would be more specific. But, if you hover over, it'll show you, well, this is a red example, so the red isn't really popping up as well, but it'll show you exactly where it is, and then with that erase...
It said if my memory serves correctly, Shift-O changes the color of the overlay, or am I not?
Shift-O, let's try it.
If you press O, I know you... No, or maybe that's in the other Lightroom.
Oh,
There you go, Shift-O.
Learn something new every day. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So this makes it pop more. So this is like totally opposite colors. So now you can really see where you're going with this.
Painting,
so if you erase, see, you're really getting, this is really getting specific now, but if you erase, you can really get detailed. So if you like tedious work like that, I like doing this kind of stuff. Like if I'm really focused, I'm like, yes, this is awesome.
Yep.
It's very
and
satisfying.
This is why you need a podcast for music, because you could be in one flower for 3 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah. And what is the name of your podcast again?
All About It.
All About It.
Yeah.
So make sure you check it out while you're working.
Yeah.
Because in about, 3-4 hours, no more Adobe Live till tomorrow, so then they can listen to your podcast.
Exactly.
So listen to Adobe Live all the way to the end of the day, and then to your podcast.
Yeah, we have over 50 episodes,
there
so you can
go.
really get some time in there.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's my husband and I. We started it last January, so a year ago January, so we just hit a year. It's just so much fun. It kind of feels like a totally different kind of project for me, because I'm always doing this kind of stuff, which is so fun.
Always painting in petals and flowers
Yeah,
and
exactly,
leaves.
exactly. This is the kind of thing that I used to do in Photoshop that I've just kind of like transferred over. But it just works better for me because I'm always in Lightroom. So if I do Option O, does that change it? Was it Shift O?
Yeah.
Oh, and then it's clear.
Yeah.
And
different.
dark.
Yeah,
And
then
red.
Which red is the default.
Very, very good tip.
So that's
I love
Shift
that.
O to swap the color or cycle through the colors of the overlay.
What other keystrokes are
It's a whole bunch.
so many? So many in Photoshop too. So that's this one. Let's see. I want to see what it looks like with a brighter blue really quick just to see. Yeah, I like the darker blue for this one for sure. It's just super dramatic. Very, very dramatic. Yeah, I haven't been shooting as many portraits as before. I was telling Jesus that I used to do weddings when I first started out. I did it for about 8 years, and that's really what got me started. And once I launched my print shop and started focusing more on Instagram, I stopped doing weddings. Not opposed to doing them in the future. I think that they're awesome and such a good way to learn everything at once. Like customer relationships and just like handling clients and having an editing workflow. Like you have to be so organized, and I just have a ton of respect for wedding photographers.
Julia Masalska says, hi, Jesus. Hi, Arielle. Hi, Julia. Good to see you. Julia has been a guest, I don't know how many times, a bunch of times. She's been on here probably almost as much as me, I'm guessing, but she's been here a whole bunch of times.
Oh,
hey, Julia.
awesome. What does Julia specialize in?
She does design. A lot of design stuff, yeah.
Cool. So we're going through, whenever I'm done with something, I check the other ones and
Just
I'm
to
like,
make
do I
sure.
like it more? And usually not. I like to.
And once again, guys, I want to remind you about the design feedback. It's in about 15 minutes. Make sure you log into Discord. Once again, click on that link that says join the Photoshop Discord right above the chat, so that you could submit your work, and we would love to review your composites in about 15 minutes.
I just read, do you prefer shooting in the morning or afternoon? What kind of lighting do you like generally? So natural or added lights and flashes. I always shoot in natural lighting. In fact, on this shoot, we had a couple, I'll click on this one. We had a couple mirrors on this one. And what I would do is just either have her hold it to reflect, or I would hold it with my arm to reflect, or I would have an assistant hold it. I also have a big, round, like 40-inch wide reflector, just super easy off Amazon. And I love using that kind of stuff for more of like a warm glow or just a white bounce. It just makes such a huge difference. But other than that, I don't even own a flash. I used to for weddings, and I feel like that is totally necessary. And for some styles, I think that it is such a cool effect that you can use. There are also ways to edit to make it look like you used flash. I don't have a preset for that. But yeah, always pretty much daytime or golden hour. Sunset is my wheelhouse, I feel like.
I also, if you're interested in lighting, there's a really good book by a good friend of mine, Roberto Valenzuela, photographer out of LA, Picture Perfect Lighting. You can check it out on Amazon. I think that's a fantastic book if you want to learn about lighting, specifically just natural light. So it's super cool.
Yeah.
So check him out, Roberto Valenzuela, Picture Perfect Lighting.
That's awesome.
You guys may know him from Photoshop World if you ever attended that conference, or Creative Live. So he's an excellent photographer and fantastic with light.
Great resource. Yeah, I just have always shot natural lighting during the day and at sunset. And in fact, my husband and I got to San Francisco on Saturday, and I was just researching like crazy. Where is the best place to shoot for sunset? And we've gotten a couple really fun locations in since we've been here. So
Awesome.
yeah. But I just cropped this down to crop her hand out, and this is just a totally different lighting scenario because this mirror is actually kind of a gold color. You can see it like in the sky kind of behind her, and her face is like really gold when it's raw like this. So this is a very specific kind of edit, and I would just go through and see, this is the kind of image where you're gonna apply a preset and have to really play with it. So this is a good example for that, I think.
Perfect.
I'm probably gonna I'm just gonna go over a few more just to see. I might even start from scratch.
By the way, Julia Masalska, Arielle, I love your photography. So beautiful.
Thank you. Oh, so nice. Everyone's so nice in the chat. So I just went with Capri just to see how we would look here. And I think I'm gonna do more
And again, those are the
blue.
presets that they could buy on
Yes,
that. Cool.
yes. I think someone left, I saw the link pop up a little bit ago.
So these are not included in Lightroom. These are ones that you created.
I created
and
these.
you're making them available to them.
Yes, yes.
Awesome.
Definitely available. So I clicked Capri, and then I'm actually gonna go back a couple steps just to show before. So that was Capri before adjustments, and all I did was exposure and temperature, and I got to this. So I feel like with my presets, I really wanted to make it so that if whatever temperature or hopefully whatever camera you have, I know that every camera has different colors. I really tried to keep that in mind, and I wanted it to like work with everybody. I have friends that had different kinds of cameras, and I was like, will you test this out and tell me what you think? And I would tweak it, and so I hope you guys like them. If you try them out, definitely let me know. Let's see.
And I just want to like really drive the point home. This is an excellent example here of how like the preset didn't necessarily look good in the beginning. It didn't work.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah.
And you just adjusted what, 2 sliders?
Yeah. So applied Capri and then exposure up and then temperature.
Look at that. And by the way, she's in the history panel. It's kind of like the undos.
Oh yeah, yeah.
In a
I
Lightroom.
love that the entire history shows.
Cool.
Just like in Photoshop, you can look at your history and bring up that window, and that was raw, and then we just got to that.
Yeah, and like you could have done if you were not talking and explaining it in 10 seconds probably.
Yeah. Happy to share. So the blue, I want to see. It kind of gets a little. I'd probably just darken it for. Let's see, and then just saturate, make it a little more green, and then from here it's just preference because it's different.
Right. Paloma wrote, I was already loving these pictures and then the mirrors came up.
Oh!
OMG.
Yeah, these mirrors, they're from IKEA. They come,
cool.
well, I don't know if they still have them. I got them like 10 years ago, but I've used them for shoots what feels like forever.
I'm sure IKEA still sells mirrors.
Oh, yeah. Not sure about these ones. They come in like they come in a pack of like 12, and there's silver and gold. And if they still have them and you like playing with stuff like this, I highly recommend.
Cool.
Or just, I'm sure Amazon or wherever you can get cool mirrors and play with them. And then this one, same thing, same mirror, just different way of playing. But actually, I'm gonna make this into a preset and see what that looks like on that one, just for fun.
All right.
Let's do Annie Capri. We have everything selected, and then you can see in my Adobe Live 1, I'll have Live 2, I'll create Live 2 tomorrow as I go through my landscape photos.
Right.
They've all of my Annie presets are in here and organized, and then holiday, here's everything organized. So I just love, you can like, oops. I just did Command Z, which is undo. So you can bring them down, you can see everything at once. I made some beforehand that I liked for these as well, and then I have Capri. Okay, that's done, I made that, and then I'm gonna go to a different one. Oh, see how crazy it looks? So since she was so warm in the mirror, it's really looking different. So from here, I mean, this one's a challenge. I would probably, go, I can already tell that like everything is a little bit more dramatic. You had to push it to an
extreme because the starting point was already an extreme.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like undoing things from here if I had to.
Right.
But this is just to give you an example of like, if you make a preset for something as specific as this, the chances of it working on something else perfectly are kind of slim.
Right, right.
So, and that's okay. You can use whatever else too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd probably bring up the orange a little bit. And what else? The blue needs help.
Right.
Yeah, this one's crazy. Oh, there we go. Okay.
There we go.
It's getting more normal. Yeah, but that's just, yeah, that was a good example of, okay, see, we're getting back. We're getting back.
Claudia from Print My Soul wrote, a little angel sent me a new Sony Alpha A600, and I am now getting inspired to take more photos with these gorgeous photos and presets. Thank you, Arielle.
Oh, that's so nice. That camera, have you played with that camera before? It's so nice.
Yeah, and actually, I'm that little angel. So, by the way, so yes, I got to play with that camera. Yes.
So good,
Yeah.
and for video too. The video on those Sonys is insane.
Yeah, it's a really cool, and it's also very light. And because you were talking
good for
about
travel.
you were talking about how you switched from Nikon to Canon. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually making the switch from Nikon to Sony. So I'm sorry, from Nikon to Sony. Yes, Nikon to Sony. So,
What Nikon did you like?
Oh man, I already forgot what I had. I had the D5200, I want to say. Something like that.
I went from the 810 to the 5D or 850. I can remember. I think it's 810. The one that doesn't have the flip out screen.
Right.
But yeah, this is looking better. But again, like crazy that this is the same preset.
Right.
Crazy. I just want to see what it looks like on this for fun. Oh,
not bad.
Not terrible. A little psychedelic.
Yeah, I mean, depending on your taste, that could
See
be done.
this line?
By the way, I see the line.
Crazy how that works with color. Like if you go too far, you do get this like very obscure and that's something that can be, reverted.
Question in the chat, what camera do you use, Arielle?
The Canon 5D.
Canon 5D.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you ever add any grain to your photos?
Sometimes I do actually. Actually, lately I have been. And I do like it more for just kind of off the cuff Instagram stuff. And depending on the photo, I think it does add something. But I really like to take a step back and say, does this add or take away from the photo? Because sometimes grain can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
I think on a photo like, let's see, which one would be a good example to test?
While you find it, let me read this comment. Isabella wrote, I'm not getting over this. These photos, also beautiful. I'm gonna cry.
Oh, thanks. Don't cry.
It's a happy cry.
I say that all the time. I'm like, I'm crying, but I'm not. It's just like it's an inside thing for sure. I get it. Thank you.
And really quick, design feedback in about 7 minutes. So make sure you submit your work into Discord. Once again, the link is up above the chat. Just click on where it says join the Photoshop Discord and submit your work. We would love to see your composites. Paul Tranny was doing some really cool compositing with he was holding the Earth.
Oh yeah, like galaxy.
Yeah, it's like space theme. So we're very excited to check out your work. So make sure that you submit it. You got about 5 minutes.
So I'm applying the grain to this one, and that's all the way. If you can see, let's zoom
there
in.
we go.
That's before, and that's after. And I feel like even on, I'm gonna take this one back to its original, let's see, Annie 1. Just gonna kind of get it back.
I'm big into adding grain. For those of you that know my work or watch my videos, I almost add it to everything.
Really?
And just a tiny little bit, not barely noticeable, because a lot of times when you're working, especially in Photoshop, I do more work in Photoshop than Lightroom, but if you apply any sort of filter or adjustment that blurs the image, you lose all the grain quality from the original photo.
That's true.
So it just looks too digital, too fake.
Yeah.
And you just add just a tiny little bit of grain, it kind of helps it come back
more
and
realistic.
make feel more film quality.
Oh, that's a good tip. I like that. I was just gonna say that I think with grain, it looks better with depth when there's a lot of depth behind somebody, or if there's just a really good blur, grain can look so cool. Yep. I think it just depends on the picture, but yeah, I've been using grain a little bit more lately on Instagram, and it's been fun.
Right.
And that's another thing that you can toggle in the preset selection menu area.
Right.
So let's see if we did, so this does have grain. Yeah, it does have grain. Make it a little more. And then create preset and let's say Annie grain. And see, make sure that, yeah, see here in effects, there's the post-crop vignetting and then grain. We want to make sure that it's selected and then create. And then let's try it on her and see. The lighting is going to be a little bit different. Yeah, that's a totally different vibe.
Cool.
But if you brighten it, you can kind of, and I like looking at it, I just see it's purple, so I automatically go green, and it's almost there. But then if you zoom in, you can see the grain. And you kind of, with certain things, I feel like you kind of lose the sharpness a little bit. And that's always, you can go back and sharpen it up.
What type of grain works best? Wheat grain, rice grain, perhaps a nice barley grain?
Barley grain.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I think you might know who that is on the chat.
Where does it say?
Towards the bottom.
Yes. Oh, that's funny.
Somebody block that account, please. No, just kidding.
That's so funny. Oh, man. Yeah, that was, I feel like for this, I'd probably take it down in size. See how it got sharper, like automatically? That's grain, just grain, and roughness is about 50. And then that's grain just on its own, but size takes it up, and then roughness gets a little literally rough, but yeah, I think like a little bit is so cool depending on the look. Yeah, we did Polaroids from the shoot too, and they turned out really cool, so that's always fun with this camera that she's holding. It's an Instax.
Nice. So we got 3 minutes, guys. Make sure you submit your work.
Oh my gosh, it went by so fast.
Yeah, so quickly. So we want to see some awesome compositing work, and hopefully you guys had enough time to finish what you saw earlier today with Paul Tranny, because we're very excited to see, because we were watching Paul work as we were waiting to come in. So,
yeah, it was so cool.
So we were just wondering what like your take on it, like what are you guys going to do? So
someone said blocked.
Yeah, that's Tim. He's one of the moderators. And that was your husband, by the way.
Yeah, that was my husband.
So just to be clear.
My sister said the Bargles. That's my sister.
Oh, okay.
She knows. If you listen to our podcast and you follow us on Instagram, you know that Bennett's nickname is Bargles.
Right.
That's funny. Yeah, I'm just doing one more on here, just to throw it out there. I just used Chelan, and I went a little more blue.
And I think that's your sister. It's so fun watching you work.
Yeah, Adria.
Aww.
So fun. So
I don't think my
she's
brother's
on.
ever watched 1 minute of any of my Adobe Lives.
Well, a lot of people actually like at work. Adria's flexible. She just started her own business, so she's working at home right now.
Oh,
and
cool.
So I know that she can hop on and kind of like work at the same time too. But yeah, I just kind of gave, I think this one's actually a little blurry. I did that on purpose for some of them just because I know that she wanted like really like, we were going really abstract, and we did kind of want that film look. So
Cool.
there are some that are just a little more abstract than others, but yeah, I used Chelan for this one.
Nice.
And then...
And Shahid, thank you for the comment. I appreciate that.
Oh, nice, yeah. Cool, yeah.
So vibrance.
Yes.
Vibrance and saturation. So
I use very, very minimally. I use both of those, but for the most part, I feel like I use vibrance more. It's just more of a mellowed out saturation situation. So.
Yeah. So the difference between the two is they both increase saturation. Saturation increases the saturation of all pixels equally, and then vibrance protects already saturated pixels and skin tones. So naturally, you went for the one that's a little more subtle. So it makes total sense. All right, guys, we got about 30 seconds. Hurry up and upload your work because we want to get to it. Once again, the link is right above the chat. click on join the Photoshop Discord and submit your work. We're so excited to check it out.
Yeah,
in about 30 seconds.
Maybe tomorrow I'll apply some of the Annie filters onto the landscape photos in case you joined us both days, so you can kind of get an idea of how they differ with the oranges and stuff.
Cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, the direct sun is definitely, I feel like it's happening more and more. I feel like I'm seeing like more and more variety of lighting situations because things are getting so just open and like, you know, I feel like people are just doing whatever they want and it just works for them, which is super cool. So, good. I thought that would be a good example.
Awesome. Let me... All right, so it looks like it's time for the design feedback. So we're gonna get right to it. I guess we're just gonna do it from my screen. Oh, people are submitting their work as we speak. I think. Oh, look, they're doing it. They're doing it. Let me just click on one, and then we'll zoom in and we can talk about it. Super cool.
It's like illuminated.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this particular
I love
piece?
how it looks like the light is coming onto its back, and then it's like, it's almost like you created light.
Yeah.
Which is so cool.
I really like the texture over because the stars and the Milky Way and all that create this like cool texture. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that light that you're talking about, I think it might be the Milky Way just like overlaid onto him.
Oh, really?
You know? I don't know. It kind of looks like that way to me.
Yeah, it does.
So I really like this one. And this one was from 10/2019. We have one. This person followed Paul's example using Paul's photo, and he has a quote by Carl Sagan. Look again at that dot. That's here, that's home, that's us.
Wow.
It's kind of funny because it kind of feels like Paul saying that. But yeah, good composite.
Looks good.
Yeah, he did great.
I
Excellent
bet
work.
the grain is really good for that background situation. I can tell.
Yes. Awesome. And this one was from Luis Aviles. Thank you so much. And let me see, let me move up. And we have this one
The
by
color on that one
Gerard.
is really cool.
He might have been watching your stream and he might have added a little bit of those oranges. I'm thinking, I don't know, let us know.
Yeah.
But I think...
I love the tones on that one.
Yeah.
It looks like a painting.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Good work overall. Like, the only thing I would consider adding on this one, and maybe some of the other ones too as well, and I didn't really mention it, is like, if you really want to make it feel like he's holding it, maybe add like some shadows of the fingers in there.
Yeah, true.
Just to give it a little more depth and realism. But overall, it's very, very good.
That looks like a painting.
Yeah.
That is so crazy.
Excellent.
Very cool.
Thank you, Gerard. And we have this one by Hilde with, again, Paul Trani. It looks like they also distorted Paul a little bit. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it looks kind of smoky.
Yeah. They probably use a Photoshop brush for that, I'm guessing. Like
really?
a Photoshop brush for the clouds. I'm not sure. Also, I'm not sure if the person was going for like a ghosting effect, but like maybe I would have masked the fingers, to make it seem...
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Cool lighting.
Yep. Good job. Let us know if you're watching, Hilde, if that was a brush, because that looks like there was some nice brush work there. These were the starter files. Just in case you haven't seen the starter files for people watching who missed Paul's stream, that's basically what Paul started with. And more or less, that's what Paul ended with. But this person, Ceci, wrote, "I love teal, so I had to go with that."
Yeah.
Excellent
work. The flare, that's really cool.
Super cool. And also because, very good job on the placement, because Paul's photo had this bright light next to him. So I think Ceci might be a lady, so she placed the light in the appropriate spot. Like, this light would have not worked on the other side, for example.
Right, totally. I do like that light in the background. It looks like a star is exploding.
It's like a supernova just exploding. And also, Ceci did a really good job with the shadows that we were talking about in the fingers.
Totally.
So really, really good work.
Looks super realistic.
Yeah.
That is so, wow,
move
so talented.
up.
Oh my
wow,
gosh.
This is a very different one, but that's super cool.
That's
this is from
super
Shahid. Wow, Shahid.
Whoa.
Excellent work. What are your thoughts on it?
That is, I mean, those colors. That's the first thing I noticed.
I didn't know you like colors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it looks like there's an astronaut just flying into
Wow.
like his Ford truck. They should have put the Tesla truck. I think it would have been more space-like, you know what I mean?
The broken windows.
Yeah, with the broken windows. Oh my god, that was hilarious. If you guys
Oh,
haven't seen
man.
that, make sure you look up on YouTube like
Yeah.
Tesla broken window.
Oh, man.
It was
so
hilarious.
Cringe.
But yeah, excellent work. I love the, as you said, the colors. Maybe I would have probably done a little more blending with the clouds that are hitting the truck, but overall it's
Oh, yeah,
excellent work.
It's really cool. I love how warm it is.
Yep. Cool.
Wow.
Let's see who is next. We have Maximiliano. All right.
Whoa.
This looks very surreal.
Whoa.
What I would like to know is what's the story behind it?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? Like,
I feel like this could be a movie.
yeah,
What
yeah.
is happening?
Like, what? Who? Why is she in that bubble? And who's
Yeah.
this lady?
Wow.
So I'm not. The one thing I would say in terms of like the actual work is it looks like they like did a brush stroke like on the right hand side by the chair which she's sitting on. So I'm not sure
Right.
if like that was intentional or what, but it looks like a brush stroke. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it looks like it's fading away.
Yeah.
Like kind of like deteriorating a little bit.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Oh man, somebody just, I think Hilda just replied to our question. I used Kyle's concept brushes for the clouds and just noticed I didn't mask out Paul's fingers on the final layer. Have to correct that.
Oh, I
Let me
see.
see if I have Photoshop active, and if not, I really gotta show you guys this because Kyle's concept brushes. So you can actually download over 1,000 free Photoshop brushes from Adobe,
Really?
and they're from Kyle Webster, and one of the packs is concept brushes. So I'm gonna let this open up. We'll look at another example, then we'll come back to it because I really want to show you how to get those
wanna
free brushes.
see.
But anyway, thank you for letting us know about that, Hilde. So this is again very similar to what they use the example images. Any thoughts on
Yeah,
it?
it's really cool. The brightness. I feel like I'm immediately drawn to the brightness like behind the
Yeah.
globe. And then the brightness, like it looks like it's reflecting on his cheek, which is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
so cool. Like I am so impressed with this kind of stuff. Yeah.
Cool. Yep. Awesome work. And this one was from Eduartist.
Cool.
Let me open up Photoshop. So like here you go, I was working like on some stuff, but
Yeah.
anyway, that's a shoe that really doesn't matter. But if you click on the brush tool and then click on this drop down here, there's this gear icon and there is this link that says get more brushes.
Yeah.
If you click on that, it will open up a page where you can download all these brushes. There are over 1,000 brushes
Wow.
for free from Adobe.
That is so cool.
And the one that, Hilde was talking about was the concept pack. This is actually the one that I use because it has a bunch of cool brushes for compositing, including clouds and grass and all this cool stuff. You will have to log in with your Adobe ID, and the one thing I'm not sure is if you need to have access to the Creative Cloud. I do know that you have to log in to download them. I'm not sure if you need to also be an Adobe Creative Cloud subscriber. So sorry about that if you have to be, but in case you are, you'll get 1,000 free brushes. And also they work with the iPad too. So if you are using Photoshop on the iPad,
nice.
you can kind of see it
Yeah.
on the picture there. You can use them on the
Right.
iPad as well. So
Sounds like I'm getting some brushes.
yeah, just 1,000,
Yeah, just
1,000 free
1,000.
brushes. So anyway, thanks for reminding me about that. Hilde,
that's
and I
cool.
gotta go back into the Creative Challenge and ooh. This is
Whoa.
from VV82, The Truth About the World, Spinning Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge number 7.
Whoa.
Wow, what's your take on this one?
I love that. I love the greens down below.
Yeah.
I noticed that. Whoa.
I'm-
Kind of like dark RGB a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm wondering if they were following, because that's kind of like the green that you were
Yeah,
applying
it
to some of your
is.
photos, so maybe they were watching, I don't know.
Maybe.
But they did a good job with the shadow. They got a little lens flare going on, so it's a
Yeah.
good job overall. One tip I would give everybody who's doing compositing, whether it's this challenge or any type of compositing, is at the very top of your composite, create a black and white adjustment layer so it just desaturates the image, and then you can see if something is like way brighter or way darker than everything
yeah.
else.
Yeah.
And then you'll really focus on it, and then when an adjustment layer, you can adjust the luminosity, because I have a feeling that if we were to apply an adjustment layer to this that, I don't even know what animal it is. I feel like I don't know animals. Leopard? Leopard, if we're wrong, let us know in the chat. Cheetah.
Is it a cheetah or a leopard?
Yeah, let us know in the chat, but whatever it is. I have a feeling that it's really, really bright compared to everything else. So maybe I would darken it a little bit.
Right.
But the way to see that objectively is if you remove the color. In doing so, you will need to do so with a black and white adjustment layer.
I love the colors in the galaxy. That's like my favorite part, I think.
Awesome work. Yeah, the Milky Way looks awesome.
So cool.
And thank you, Vivi82. And then we have Camillo. Camillo, ooh.
Whoa, the light coming up?
Yeah.
How do you even do that?
I don't know, Camillo. You have to come in at Adobe Live and show us.
Whoa.
Super cool work. This has like a very like superhero type of effect. Maybe super villain. I don't know.
Marvel something.
Yeah, Marvel something. Awesome. Great
Very
work.
cool.
Yeah.
Love the color coming up.
Yeah, great work. The one thing I probably would have done on this is something that you were commenting on with the other pictures. Maybe add like a overall hue to the image, maybe like a green or blue or something, just to bring it all together. Because I feel that all the elements don't really have like a something that makes it a cohesive image.
Right. It would kind of be like putting a light preset or a filter onto it to make it look like all the same. Hues and everything.
Exactly. Yep. Let's see. Thank you, Camilo, for submitting. Great work. And now we have Ken Colley. Oh, let me see what he wrote. Thanks for the feedback. Thought getting rid of the green screen look, but I'm still not happy. Problem was harsh lighting with subject too close to the backdrop. So let's check it out.
Yeah. Oh, it's like a bubble.
Yeah, it looks like he had some issues, but I mean, frankly, like I wouldn't be able to tell from looking at the image that you had so much trouble cropping it. To me, the crop looks fine.
Yeah.
So good job.
The straight horizon. We love a good straight horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Tim, thanks for answering that. So to answer my question, the only way to access the additional brushes is through a paid Creative Cloud membership. So I'm assuming that you mean any Creative Cloud membership, like including the photography plan. I would assume so, but again,
that's the one I have.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Trying to make colors work with Gray Ghost.
Whoa. Ooh, the background is really cool.
Super cool.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
But see, this is the cool thing, like, right, Paul started with like himself, a picture of the
right.
earth, and then somebody said, I'm just gonna do like laser beams. They
totally flipped it.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Yeah, super cool work.
Wow, I love the green and the red and the peaches. It just works. Yeah.
And that kind of goes back how like we started the stream, right? Like what colors work well with each other. You said red and green.
Yeah.
So this is an example of how red and green could work well together.
Exactly. And the green doesn't have to be like super forest green. It can be this like muted, really pretty like brownish green, and it looks more natural.
Yep. Awesome work.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Gray Ghost. And it looks like
a photo.
Okay, so it looks like this is the before.
That's beautiful.
Gorgeous photo.
Wow.
And it looks like this is the after.
Whoa.
So this looks like a movie poster.
Yeah, it does.
Beauty Undisturbed.
Whoa.
What do you think?
It's very moody. I love a good moody moment, honestly. It's pretty cool. The before is gorgeous too.
Yeah. The one thing I would say is a little, just be a little more careful when you mask the hair. Sometimes it's just easier to like paint back in strands of hair than trying to like mask it, especially on something that doesn't have because she has blonde hair. And
hair can be so difficult.
Yeah, look, her hair is so blonde and the background is also very light in most areas. So like what I would do is I would just, just make like a sharp mask and not worry about the hair, and then
go in and paint over.
And it's a lot easier. This is why I'm doing this motion, because I have a Wacom tablet. But if you don't, you probably will have to use your mouse or trackpad. But it's a lot easier sometimes to recreate the hair than to actually mask it out.
Yes.
So good work, Skyquake. Thanks for submitting.
Both cool.
Both super cool.
Whoa.
Camille, wow.
That is cool.
Really cool.
That could be an album cover.
Yeah. Definitely.
Totally. Whoa. So many thoughts. I love the background gradient of the pastels.
Super cool.
It's the first thing I know. Pastels.
It's like, wait, is that my preset? Awesome. Have you ever seen something that you're like, that's gotta be my preset, or they probably saw me on Instagram or something where you're like...
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, more so than the coloring, I think that I'll see a picture that's very similar to mine of like something that anybody could take of like a certain landmark or like a wave that looks very similar. And I'll be like, wait a minute, is that my picture but with different editing on it? And then I take screenshots and I compare them and I'm like, no, but that's crazy how similar they look.
Right.
With like the angle and the way that it is, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, sometimes tones too.
Yeah.
Oftentimes I find my pictures on Pinterest and they just came from nowhere and I'm like, no one knows they're mine.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
so thank you, Camille. Great work. I think you did an excellent job in the masking, the
very
colors.
cool.
I mean,
I love the colors and the
not,
contrast,
Yeah, there's not much we can say.
I love that one eye looks like, is it closed or is it just darker?
No,
it's just
darker.
darker.
It's like a skull, like
it's like
overlay.
almost a wink.
Yeah.
And a blink and a nod.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. We have Leah
Whoa.
Michelle.
So like a black and white photo. Wow. I love that photo of the mountains. That's so cool.
It's a really cool effect on the jersey as well.
Yeah.
Nice job.
It looks like neon.
Yeah.
Probably because it's up against black and white too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good work.
Very cool.
Excellent work.
Super unique.
Also, I like these little dispersion effect here on the guessing.
I love
moon.
what we each notice.
Yeah.
We notice different things.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because your eye is straight for one thing and my eye is straight for
yeah,
another thing.
Totally.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thank you, Leah. And now, let's see. Catching up. Okay, so this is from day one. I'm not really sure what the day one challenge was, but this is the original, and this is the after.
Wow.
Oh wait, which is the wait? I'm confused because it says before and after, but okay, so I guess one is lighter. Is that the?
Yeah, it kind of looks like it.
All right, well, good job making. I guess because I can kind of see now that her face just it's more noticeable on.
And the
and
shadows
after.
are darker in the top one for sure.
All right.
Cool.
Nice. Maybe Camille, try some of the Lightroom tips that you were Arielle were showing, and maybe we can get some cool effect out of that. Great job, Camille. Here we go. This is another awesome submission.
Ooh, the colors.
Yeah.
Love that.
Super cool.
Cool composition with the number. Love it.
Yeah, it looks like that was the first challenge. I'm reading the comment by Tim. Use clone stamp, helium brush, and camera rod to remove distractions, soften tones, and add texture. Oh,
wow.
Okay, cool. Thanks so much for that, Tim. So what Tim is talking about is this one here. So it looks like they used the spot healing brush, the healing brush tool, the clone stamp tool, and softening tones and textures. So yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Tim.
Loving these Tim moments, by the way. Very good takeaways.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tim. This is, I think, this is before we came on, but we'll look at a few. Oh, this is super cool.
I love the depth.
Yeah.
It looks like a photo was just taken like that.
Yeah. You know what's super cool about this one is like, I'm having a lot of trouble figuring out like what's going on, and that I keep like looking at this like dog smoking a pipe, and then there's this dog looking at us. But then I can't, so is that dog on top of that? Or because it's like overlaid onto the background, so it might be just like a painting that he's standing on, you know what I mean? Like, so it's a lot going on, and I really I just keep looking at it, so I think it's great.
The detail in the sky is like blowing my mind. That's so cool.
Awesome.
So many talented pieces here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great work, guys.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Talented pieces, people.
Yeah, talented pieces, yeah. The pieces are talented, not you guys. Just the pieces.
They created themselves.
Awesome.
Wow.
Super cool.
Very cool.
See, like this, I can actually see something like this with the same color tones that you were applying to your images.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's a similar like feel with, you know, like the flowers and the nature of the woman model. So it's super cool. Super, super cool work. And this is from Chocolita. Thank you so much.
Very cool.
And we'll look at a few more because these are from like the previous day, but we can still check them out. All right, so immediately I'm gonna like it because I'm a cat person.
Oh, you are?
So yeah, if there's a cat in it, then I like it.
Love it. I love all the colors. I feel like they're all being utilized in different ways. Very cool.
Yeah, Awesome work. The one thing I would have done is maybe because everything is like so colorful, but the cat himself doesn't really have
More muted
color. He's like, I mean, I know he's a great cat, but maybe add just a little bit of like, just like, kind of like you were saying in some of your work that you can kind of see some green if you really look into it, you know?
Maybe more warm?
Yeah, something. I just feel like it's so colorful, but then the cat just has no love besides the laser beam coming out of his eyes.
Yeah, and good texture too.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Good job. Let's see what else we have. Oh, this is another cool one.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the Polaroid like logo. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, the
how
old
the Polaroids
school,
would come with those manuals and it would be like huge numbers.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of. It's
We're
really
dating ourselves
retro.
Polaroids. Like what are those?
Yep.
Oh man.
That's really
That
cool.
was like the original Instagram.
Oh yeah. Flickr.
Flickr. Oh my god,
Don't remind me.
So what is your geosite again? I'm gonna give you guys my MySpace so you can follow me.
Oh man, MySpace.
Awesome. This is a really, really cool piece. I like.
Wow.
There's so much that I like about this. I don't know if the person also did the portrait retouching, but it's great.
Yeah, it's great.
And I like how they have these little lasers that are so colorful, but they're also creating like geometrical patterns, you know what I mean?
There's something about symmetry like this that just makes me think for a really long time in a really good way.
Right.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Super cool. And this is from Hassab, is it?
Very
Hassab?
cool.
Hassab. Oh, there we go. Oh, cool. Look at this. He used that.
That's cool.
Awesome. So it's even cooler than I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love seeing the different starting points like this.
Yep.
Really cool.
Awesome. Cool. We'll just look at a few more. Like we'll say we look at two more because these are from the previous day. But then we maybe you can show us like one or two more things and where we can find you online and all that cool stuff. So then this is a photo from Unsplash, and they added this cool looking color tone to the image.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they painted over it. What do you think? Like, it
yeah,
looks like
because her face is that blue color that's in the background. I'm curious to know if it's over or if it's just the tone of the skin. Yeah. And it's a different background.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if they set like either the layer or the brush tool into like color or something like that, and they just like.
Oh yeah, right.
It. So.
And then there's that texture over the jacket too. That's pretty cool.
Yep. So yeah, I wonder if they added that in, but that's super cool. I like that texture a lot as well.
Wow, cool picture.
And this is from Sean, and we'll just look at Carla, double exposure. Is this a double exposure? Yeah, it looks like it. Cool.
Whoa.
Awesome work.
This is maybe one of my favorites.
Cool. Ooh, Carla. Yeah. I hope you're watching.
I love I love contrast, like simple but unique and like interesting, and there's texture, but it's a simple background, and that's really cool.
Super cool.
Different. Yeah. Love it.
So I think this is a good place to stop. Your favorite? So I don't think we can.
I think maybe. Am I allowed to pick favorite?
No, you're not. They're all your favorites.
They're all so good.
It's like your children. You can't love one over another, even though parents do have favorites. I know that for a fact. I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, I think this is an excellent piece.
Yeah,
and you know what I've been liking
cool.
a lot lately? I think I mentioned this last time I was here, that I've been liking a lot of pieces where there's a lot of negative space.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Too.
So I've been seeing, I don't know if it's a trend or I'm just noticing it more, but I really like stuff that like has a lot of negative space, like in this case. So excellent work, Carla. So we got about, I believe, 7-ish minutes, 6 minutes. 2 minutes. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was looking at the wrong. Well, so why don't you show us where we can find you online and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So this is my print. This is the homepage of my website, which is my print shop. We've got a ton of options on here, ranging from florals to cars, all around the world. Just different things. And yeah, this is the print shop. Gift cards. A lot of stuff locally from Oceanside and just traveling.
Cool.
I have a blog. There's links to my presets on here, my podcast. I have a YouTube channel, which is more lifestyle based, and just like travel vlogs and fun stuff like that. And I'm at Arielle Vey on Instagram, and this is my Instagram where
Awesome.
you can
Be
follow
sure to
me
follow.
if you like.
Yeah, we'll be back again tomorrow,
Yeah.
9:30 a.m. But stick around because we have more Adobe Live. If you don't mind putting up the schedule, Paco, so you could see or not, maybe. There we go.
Cool.
Today on Adobe Live, you'll see that we had pole training in the morning, then us. We'll be back again at 9:30 a.m. tomorrow, and then we have Jesse Showalter, I think it's pronounced. And sorry, Jesse, if I mispronounce your name, but he'll be on right after us. So go get a bathroom break, get a quick snack, and come right back. And then Angela Freja at noon. This is specific time. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. It was a lot of fun.
So fun.
I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm sure I had fun. I'm sure you had fun.
Oh,
too.
so much fun. I'm so
Yeah.
excited for tomorrow for landscapes.
Yeah, so we'll be back again tomorrow. Thank you guys so
Yeah.
much, and stick around for the next stream. We'll see you
Thanks
again
for
tomorrow.
watching.
Thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Bye.